Today I am strapped into a sonic demolition derby with Tim Mothlord Richmond from Victoria's audio war machine, Munt. A band that doesn't make music so much as weaponise despair, duct tape it to blast beats and fire it directly into your nervous system. The new album, The World Is Not Yours, sounds like civilization being blended, filtered through existential dread, and served in a glass labelled Drink If You Dare. This isn't entertainment, this is philosophy with a broken jaw. This is the sound of the world collapsing and someone screaming good. We're talking chaos, collapse, alienation, connection through noise, and why sometimes the only sane response to an insane world is to scream until the walls crack. No rules, no mercy, and definitely no seatbelts. Let's tear the sky open. Tim, how are you, mate?
Doing pretty well. How you going, Chris?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. It's so good to chat with you. First thing I want to ask, what is Tim like when he's not screaming over blast beats?
Well, probably as some listeners might notice, they probably go, "Oh, he's got just a normal talking voice." And my persona is quite light-hearted. I'm a very deep thinking kind of person. I wouldn't say I'm so much more of an extrovert than an introvert, but I definitely keep it pretty chill. I'm not a all over the place kind of person. So quite often people might come and see us live or any of the other bands I've been in and be, quite shocked at the persona that comes out when on stage.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You are going through like some of your lyrics and stuff, and not having met you as well, you come across as someone that doesn't just read the liner notes on the albums, but is also reading like Nietzsche and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have at least 2 of his books on my bookshelf.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love all that sort of stuff and philosophy and then moving to like Buddhism and stuff like that as well. And self. So that's awesome. And you can really see that coming through in your lyrics. So
thanks. I appreciate that because I've read various things over the years, and I did just finish a university degree, which you are forced to read things when you're in university.
Yes.
But for this album, I did take quite a lot of time to find books and actual research on the internet, like thanks Google Scholar and RMIT Library, to actually fuel the writing. And there's power in writing from gut intuition, but I don't want to be saying things that I don't feel can be backed up either.
Yeah, 100%. And there's power in that, being able to back up what you're saying. Yeah, it's awesome. Now, you've said in the past that you really see yourself as an artist first.
Yep.
What does that actually mean to you with like your day to day, being like that artist first?
I suppose the day-to-day, I'm not sure, but when it comes to being in a band, it's just that the creation, the meaning, it's creation, yes, but meaning to me.
Yeah,
the meaning is the most important thing. When I am in bands or doing my own thing, I struggle to do things for entertainment. That doesn't mean I don't have ideas. It's just that I have a drive inside of me to go towards things that have meaning and greater purpose. I've had friends of like, hey, let's start a band where we write about Warhammer for the lyrics, and I could churn that out very quickly.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have the drive there. So I've never been someone to really do things with entertainment as the forefront of it, but that's obviously a part of the craft.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess, and then in my day-to-day life, I guess I'm just immersed in things that are ideologically, visually, sonically interesting to me. It's what I live and breathe, really. Yeah.
It sounds very much like me. I am very much driven to create art, whether that be with pencil and paper, paint, photography, picking up a guitar, writing some lyrics. It's a constant. More than just a need, it's like that constant drive to create art.
Yes, I would agree with that. There is certainly just a drive. I mean, ever since I was little, it's interesting. Certain things come to certain people very innately. Like some people with maths and numbers, they're like
Oh,
wizards with it. It just comes to them. It doesn't work that way for me. But I mean, as a child, I used to draw all the time. I mean, mostly to distract myself from doing homework. I think
as we all did.
my locker in the classroom in primary school was like 95% crammed full of drawings, and then the rest was my workbooks. Um, but even with music, my parents listened to music. I grew up going to church, so my mum sang a bit, but it was just in me. It's strange that it can just be in you and you feel compelled towards something. I mean, I remember I got on a drum kit at my uncle's house one time when I was like 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm not sure. And I just started playing. And my uncle was a metal drummer and they were all outside and they were like, well, who's playing? Because you're out here. And then they went inside and I was just playing on the kit. Um,
That's
yeah. So I
awesome.
guess it's just, yeah, it's strange. It's strange that it's just there. Do you find that for yourself? It's like that. You've always just been able to pick things up and
Musically, yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. As far as like drawing and that sort of stuff, and I would say this with my music as well. I am very much the sort of person. I am 80% drive,
yep.
20% talent.
Okay.
So I will sit here in my studio working on a song, and it doesn't matter if I play the riff 1,000 times before I get it right.
Yep.
I've got the drive to do that, and I will sit
Mhm.
there and play and play and play until I get it right and record it right.
Yep.
Now that's not always the case. Sometimes it's, you play that riff first time and you're happy, but
Yep.
yeah, there is a definite like it's more than just a need to do those things to create. It's yeah, that passion is so strong.
Mm,
And I think it also comes down to, which will like kind of flow into where I kind of want to talk about next, is being someone that's neurodivergent myself, and I know you've spoken about it yourself, with yourself and other members of the band being possibly neurodivergent. For me, that neurodivergent stuff, it really drives that artistic passion for
mm,
me. Like being able to hyper focus and sit at my in my studio for 10 hours without even realizing it, playing guitar
yep.
and writing and getting so much out of it is everything to me.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
I
I
and
find what you were asking before, I feel like I'm almost involuntarily barraged with ideas.
yes,
They constantly come to me. And I would say perhaps a little bit in the opposite of what you've described. I don't like calling it talent. I suppose it might just be intuition,
yeah,
might be a better way to describe it. But there is a lot of that. And then I send demos off to people and it's not edited and tracked perfectly because I'm just like, well, it's the fucking idea. You don't need
yeah,
to hear it
yeah,
locked on the grid, but we'll get to that. But I've actually been working at that quite a lot. And funnily enough, coming around the other side, really enjoying spending time playing guitar. I mean, it's been my goal for the last couple of years to learn to play Bleed by Meshuggah. So I
yeah,
just sit with my eight string and I'm just watching stuff and I'm practicing the hurters and I'm enjoying that growth of that diligence at the craft.
yeah, yeah.
But otherwise, with the creative stuff, it's just constant. I can write too many things,
I
which is maybe a curse sometimes.
I know this feeling quite too well. I've probably got about yeah, 6 different music projects
Yep.
away, like solo projects. I've got my band as well that I'm working on that are all completely different.
Yep.
But I'll be sitting here listening to music, or I'll hear something on TV, and it instantly sparks something, and
Yeah.
everything else disappears. It's all I can
Yep.
focus on.
I find sometimes I have to be as not that I'm rude, but like sometimes I'm with like my partner or my family is around, and I'm like, an idea comes to me, and I'm like, if I don't capture this, it's gone
Yes,
forever. And I'm
yeah.
like, please, just give me like 10 minutes. I need to do this.
I have,
Sometimes I think if it's gone and you don't forget it, it wasn't that important. But I feel maybe in your case as well that a lot you do just get so many ideas, it's hard to keep up.
yeah, yeah. I've got a phone full of audio notes of
Yep.
me singing guitar riffs or putting lyrics in, and yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just that I have to get this down immediately. And then sometimes, like, you'll get that down and you're like, it's not enough. I actually need to go sit down and pick up a guitar, or
Yep.
I need to sit down with pen and paper and get this out. because it's so consuming that it's all you can think about.
Mm, yes, it is.
Yeah. Now, I know for myself, I find that just the neurodivergent thing really influences me with things like musical textures and sounds. And are you the same?
Yes. Um, maybe it's, I think all of that, certainly. I feel like I haven't, maybe it's the ADHD, not being able to settle with things, but I always feel like I'm hearing things between rhythms, between notes. My
Yes.
mind is just filling in things. Um, and I don't. I feel like a lot of people would confirm this, but I listen to a lot of really dissonant music. I mean, I was just obsessing over Total Dissonance Worship's Bandcamp just yesterday, and the most abrasive, dark, twisted stuff. And I feel like a lot of people who make that music are neurodivergent, and that
100%.
there's something about that tension and the dissonance that I mean, I don't want to say it's exclusively neurodivergent people making that music, but I feel that in that area, there's something about that tension, that clash of things,
Yeah.
jarring things. It sort of makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah,
And being like with that neurodivergent thing, uh, I mean, I'm constantly in a constant struggle. My brain is always push and pull and push and pull. And that sort of music has that same emotional sort of feeling to it. For
sure.
me as well, I experience synesthesia
Yeah.
as well, and so that's a huge part of my writing
Mm,
process as well. Because if I feel something, I know it's for me. It's like this is good because I can feel this.
yeah. I
Um,
would say one of my bandmate who's actually just here, he has that. I'm not sure if I have that, but I certainly when I hear sounds, they correlate to images and colors. I might not
yeah,
have like a neurological thing where I'm actually seeing something,
yeah,
but I certainly go, that's purple and
that's
gold, or
that's yeah,
that's black with blue and a tiny bit of orange. That's those sorts of things come to me, and I know that a lot of other people don't experience that, so it can
yeah,
be confusing when you're collaborating with people who don't think that way. Um, but yeah, you're always going to have differences anyway.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it's funny when you work, especially with like a neurotypical person. Um, there's this amazing clash sometimes that just works with music. Um, Again, you get that push and pull, and that little bit of a fight, almost,
Mm.
that is creatively sometimes just amazing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's also important to um as a neurodivergent person and someone who has mental health issues. I mean, like I'm very much in like I guess you could say having safe spaces and being accommodated and all of that. And in my own life, at certain points, maybe I felt that I wanted that a bit much. And other people I know really wanted that, and they felt a lot of discomfort when they would actually be challenged on things rather
yeah,
than being given accommodations. And there has to be a balance for sure. But I think, in those arrangements, it will certainly force you to go, well, I have ADHD. Like, I'm not one of those people that's just a superpower. It definitely makes me scattered. I'm terrible with remembering things, and it will. And I'm working with people. I'm working with people who don't thrive in that same energy, and
yeah,
I have to learn to work on things. I have to be the master of, as I have with the album, Google Docs, making lists, all of these
yeah.
things. Which actually, I think I've got a bit of an obsessive thing about now that I've gotten into it. But you know,
I'm the same. I'm the
yeah,
same.
but having been with people who are not in the same mind as me, or even a little bit, but not to the extreme that I am, it forces that growth,
Yeah,
which is
yeah. I love the forgetting thing because I will make notes and then I forget to look at the notes.
yeah.
So,
I make alarms on my phone and it comes
yes,
up and I instantly dismiss it. Um, so I'm still figuring it out.
I've
To
had to learn that
Yeah,
when that alarm goes off on my calendar, that it's stop what you're doing and do immediately what that
yeah,
is telling you to do
yes,
because
and
it's yeah,
that's sort of where I'm at now. It's like I have to do it while it's in my head.
yeah,
And I know maybe unless I'm writing the best riff in the world, I'm like, actually, I do need to capture this. But for everything else, it is a bit like do it now.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't wait because you will forget.
I love that. It's like the stuff you're saying. I'm just relating to so much. It's so it's my life exactly.
Yep.
With that neurodivergent thing, and I think a lot of neurodivergent creatives are very much like that. So,
Yep.
um, now moving away from that, um, take me back to the start. What was Munt originally meant to be? I know you
Uh,
guys started as like a studio type project to start with.
yeah. So, in brief, Spud created the band. He's
Hmm.
the one of the guitarists, the singer, the Scottish guy.
Yep.
If you've ever seen us play, you'll definitely know who he is. He came here. I think he was only here for about a year or so. And Magruder Grind. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. They came over and toured here. They no longer exist, but they were kind of like before Nails was the big kind of grind power violence
Yep.
band. Magruder Grind was the big band, and I actually was at the show. I didn't meet Spud at that show, but he was there, and he was like, "Fuck it, I want to start a grind band." And he did a studio demo, him on vocals, and he had a mate from one of his old bands back in Scotland on drums, and then he had a bunch of guest vocalists of all his mates, and that became "The Mind Is a Cage" demo, which got re-recorded with a local lineup
Yep.
that was in the band for a bit. 2018, they had a couple of singles with the singer at the time, and then he left, and then I joined. And then from then on, it's generally been the same band because Sol, the other guitarist, joined. That was for Towards Extinction. Seb left after that. We had a drummer for a short time for a split we did with a local band called Cordell, which are like a black and crust band. Didn't really do much music, but if anyone's listening and they love that stuff, definitely go and check them out. And then Jared joined, our current drummer and longest serving drummer now for Pain Ouroboros, and that sort of leads up to where we are now.
Yeah. Um, if you had to compare like the early releases to The World Is Not Yours, what do you think's changed the most?
I would say certainly we're taking full advantage of two guitarists,
Yeah.
leaning more into stretching kind of harmony and dissonance and chord progressions and things like that. Um, that's one thing. Sonically, things are a lot wider. They're a little bit more involved. I think there's just that itch to sort of push things a bit further because of all the different influences we have, further than just like D beat, power violence grind. Um, yeah, because the early stuff's very, very raw, very stripped back. And funnily enough, before we really got into writing the album, with the songs that ended up on it, there was even a discussion about do we want to go back to the basics, really strip it right back, and that would have been sick. I mean, there's sort of some parts of the album that feel that way, but I think inevitably we hear things and it's just like, oh, a great lead could go over that, like the drums could be doing this to play off of this, and it's very hard for us to avoid doing that now, I think. So that's
Yeah.
that's the big difference.
Yeah. Do you think like philosophically it's changed as well, like vocally and lyrically?
Hmm. To be fair, I've always been drawn to this sort of stuff. I would say, because for the last 4 years I was in a social work degree, I've just learned a lot more than I had in the past about things that I'm interested in, about social justice, politics, sociology, behavior, psychology, all of those things. And I think maybe what's changed is as I'm getting to a point where I'm really going to be establishing a career for myself. I mean, I'm already a qualified youth worker, but being a qualified social worker, it's kind of like not in a heroic sense, but it's like I really now am at a point where I'm like, well, what job do I want to be in to make a change in the world?
Yeah.
Like, I actually want to talk about something tangible. So I think that translates into the album. Whereas, yes, while there's some songs about mental health and it's more personal, there are obviously songs about politics and such. But they're a little bit more just like here's a song about the environment and shit's bad and the government's bad and we're consuming all the resources. But I think with this album, it's really about hitting home now. Not just like a generalized topic. Here's a cool topic that's about something, whatever, kind of meaningful. But yeah, I think with this album, it's really going, no, I want to kind of dig the fingers in a bit more and
Yeah.
try and rouse people up a bit more. And you know, because my other band, the Seraphim Veil, very philosophical. That's the most abstract that I would get with lyrics, I suppose. Munt to me was always kind of the band where it's like keeping a bit more just catchy, you know, not trying to drown people in these complex ideas. And it was like that at the start, and then I've ended up at the point where I'm like, well, fuck it, the music's powerful. Like I don't want to skim the surface.
Yeah.
I want everything to go all in with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Do you find when you're writing, do you hide what you're talking about with different things? Or are you like very much like straight up, this is what I want to present? Um, I know for
Um,
myself, I will often write, I write about myself and my mental health a lot, but I'll often refer to like depression as a female,
sure.
and her story. Or nightmares will be referred to, 'cause I have quite extreme night terrors as well. But I'll refer to those in very different ways, often, like demons and things like that, often.
Sure.
But I'm always thinking about how to present a story in a way that's personal to me, that can be conveyed to the audience, so it doesn't come across as like, look at me. I want to, I
Mm,
want other people to be able to grab onto that and go, you know what? I also know who she is and I feel her and I don't want her in my life either.
mm.
Um,
Yeah, I think that I do that a little bit. I think I tend towards descriptive literalism, if
yeah,
that's the best way to explain it. I do play around with allegory and metaphor, but it's not something that's my strongest my greatest strength. Maybe because so one of my biggest influences for lyrics is the Amenta. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them.
yeah,
Particularly their non-album, which is very abrasive. It's very poetic, but it's very abrasive. It's very literal. Um, like you don't have to think too much about what it's saying, but it's not thinking music. It's just I'm taking the scalpel to this thing, to you, to this topic. Like I'm in your face. If you're feeling the spit coming onto your face about the issue that I'm talking about. Um, I will say though, I think I'm very much a mediating type of personality,
yeah,
or that I see it's exhausting, but I see every single side of all kinds of situations. You know, I'm the kind of person when it comes to politics, I might be like most pretty left leaning, but I'll be like, I want to know what the right wing people are saying. I want to hear what they're saying. I want to think about it. Sometimes to test myself, sometimes just because I want to be informed and not be told by other people what they're saying. Um, so I feel that when it comes to the way that I write lyrics, sometimes I would say what's hidden is that I pull away from taking a really extreme stance on things, which on this album I think I've come away from a bit, but there's still a little bit of it. You know, I'm trying to make it approachable rather than going, this is bad, you're bad,
yeah,
shit's fucked, and not leaving room for someone to maybe listen to it and go, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that point of view.
yeah,
So
no,
yeah, and sometimes I've even thought, is that not cowardly? But um, I guess I would reflect to myself as a person that I'm a very accommodating person. I'm probably like a people pleaser in remission in some way, and I
yeah,
think that but it's a strength to be able to convey something without just getting in someone's face and it's either black or white. You know, you
yeah.
leave that space for someone to come in towards you.
It's that loving confrontation, making somebody
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable, but giving them a hug straight afterwards.
Yeah, that I would say it's something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was probably not the most metal sort of answer, but hey,
Well,
it's
I would,
relatable.
yeah. The truth is, like, I'm writing about horrible things, and yeah, it might make you feel crap, but it's coming from a humanistic perspective, and it's like I want people to feel motivated. Like maybe to think something's terrible, but then think like, what's a practical solution to this?
Yeah,
You know, I'm writing a song about like I don't know, like homelessness or like the housing crisis and like people's greed causing them to prioritize themselves over others.
Yeah,
And not just to be like, well, I mean, to be angry, but to be kind of motivated to do something about it, to kind
yeah.
of the solution to be somewhere in there rather than
Spark
going, oh,
spark
it's
that
fucked
thought.
and I have no idea what to do.
Yeah, yeah. Spark
Yeah.
the thought. How like shit is fucked. So what do we do?
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than shit's fucked and I can't really do anything. So
Yeah. And look, sometimes that is the answer. And maybe, and then at that point, I'm like, well, then it's just about sharing that with other people and going, well, we all feel the same.
yeah,
Maybe there's at least something there.
and there's power in that as well, knowing that someone else feels the same way as you do about
Yeah.
something. Yeah, it's a really big thing. Do you think with the new album it's a an art piece or an album?
It's definitely an art piece. I mean, it's an album. I
Yeah,
think it's the most artistic we've been. Um, yeah, I would say it's an art piece. You know, it's not all the way there. Um, but I think that that's just, you know, like I'm the kind of person who would go all the way into that, but then the others might not feel that way, you know. And it's funny, there are times where I'm like so sure that I don't like a riff because it's very fun and catchy, but then I come around on it. I'm like, yeah, look, maybe we're not meandering off into this like post metal section for 3 minutes and then coming back. Like we're getting to the point, and sometimes I'm like, no, but the catchiness and the impact absolutely matters. I think we've struck a great balance
yeah,
because I think you can listen to the album and it be, you know, evocative, insightful, those kind of pretentious things, but also it's just entertaining. Like if you really do not care about that stuff, you'll just be like, that was grim and hard hitting and aggressive and had really cool riffs.
and that is a large percentage of crowds often as well.
Yeah.
You know, they're there to headbang, have a good time, see some cool bands, drink some beers, and go home at the end of the night, hopefully with someone under their arm. So
Yeah. And like I think for sure there are, you know, you, we could make things more complicated, but I think, and that could be fun in the creative process, but I think something would be lost if we didn't think about things being fun to play.
yeah,
You know, and fun meaning like I'm locked into this, you know, I'm
yeah,
feeling it and I'm not like stressing out about all the notes and things like that.
yeah, yeah. At just being able to pull some shapes and have some fun.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Speaking about live shows, do you feel like your live shows are like performance, a ritual, or something of more like a shared emotional release?
Uh, I think we veer towards a performance. But it's funny, a couple of the guys in the band always just like scoff when they see bands describing their performances as rituals, which there are some bands that do that. And I'm like, well, I believe you. Like I saw Batushka back at Dark Mofo in 2018 and they played with like a choir and,
Yeah.
or I saw Watain play at Soundwave years
Oof.
ago and they had,
Amazing. I was there.
it was
Didn't have
in the
to, yeah.
rain. It was like Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers, where like they were in the rain and there was like burning candles on stage, and it really felt sincere,
Yeah.
you know. And then there are bands that call it that just to sound a bit spooky. I definitely say that look, I think we're at a point where we're prioritizing locking in and having an amazing show for people. Um, and some of that is a bit more, I guess, professionalism, but we get ourselves to a point that we can still lean into a bit of chaos.
Yeah.
Like our early shows, I felt like we were really chaotic, but we'd like really lean into things and it probably felt a bit more like things could fly off the handle at any moment. Um, yeah, it's I think we're always trotting the line between going one way or the other, and there's that tension there.
Yeah. I love that. It's a funny question to ask people in bands as well, knowing what it's like being in a band when you get on stage, because that first guitar hits or the snare hits, and then suddenly it's all over.
Yeah, it is really.
Um,
I think it's always been that way, but it feels a lot more like that now that we're sort of really like wanting to make sure everything's spot on, you know,
yeah.
rather than you know, because there are times when you've just immersed yourself in the feeling, and that's conveyed an incredible performance too. And everyone is talented and hardworking and locked in. Um, but back to what you were saying, I would say that with the shows that we'll be playing, on the album, there are several kind of like ambient noise pieces that I worked on, and like we're introducing things like that live. We don't really play with backing tracks, but we'll be able to play these interludes, and I mean, it's even opening up the possibility of making just more extra bits and pieces we can play between songs,
Yeah.
that create this immersive experience. So, and we care quite a lot about lighting. When we can, we'll pay someone to do lighting at a show. I mean, we would love to play more venues that have projector screens so we could have really
Yeah.
cool visuals that accompany things. Um, and that's where the artistry comes in. Um, so yeah, this is looking forward. So we're going
Yeah.
that way.
And that's
Yeah.
such a big thing as well. Like, it's amazing when you go see a band and they don't just play the songs, they put on a show.
Yep.
And whether that be, and like you'll get the dirtiest, rawest, loosest punk bands, but they'll still put on a show.
Yeah, of course.
There's like they'll have an introduction. There's those little things like those in between music, in between songs, or
Yep.
knowing what they're going to be talking about in between songs and stuff like that. It makes such a massive difference.
I think one of the performances that stuck with me the most, that I think about quite a lot when it comes to the way that I enjoy seeing a performance, is when Cult Leader came here back in like 2019. They played at the Tote in Melbourne, and they just had red lighting the whole time, no other lighting, just red lighting. They didn't talk, and they just fucking played and let the ambience sit between their songs, and it was just imposing. Um, we
At the
we
Tote as
tend to
well.
talk
That's
quite a
awesome.
bit. Yeah, we tend to talk quite a bit. And there's obviously necessity in thanking people and such. I mean, we've done it. We've done shows where we've not talked, or to be fair, if I'm not talking, Spud will talk, and it still allows me to be this character that's pacing back and forth,
Yeah.
staring at people while he's going, "Thanks for coming out." It's this weird clash, like what's
Yeah. Yeah.
he doing? And he's talking and being nice, but he's fucking pacing around. Um, but yeah, that's a cool performance, and I really like when bands can do that.
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
also great when you can have good banter too, because at the end of the day, we're in Australia. I think that's part of our culture in
Yeah.
gigs. Even though there are a lot of people who can enjoy artistry and be like, "Oh, I'm having a wine and watching this post black metal band play," and they're very serious, wearing button-up shirts. On the other hand, I think in certain audiences that they will connect more with people who can maybe have a bit of a joke or just show their personality through, not
Yeah.
this character.
I've been really big on that being just real.
Yep.
Even if that's like an amplified version of yourself,
Yep.
but still maintaining yourself,
Sure.
because it comes across, and it shows when you walk off stage, when you talk to the people that are there, they know straight away that if you're not being real on stage,
Yep.
the moment you talk to them. So, and that just helps build that relationship with the fans as well.
Yes.
Do you find are you a like a commanding type of vocalist, or is that more of a Spud thing? Is he sort of the
No, that's me.
yeah? That's cool.
Definitely my way. Like, and look, I have I like to think I've got a pretty good sense of humor, and I can sometimes say pretty out there things that can get the crowd laughing. But when I'm really into it, I'm leaning into being commanding, being forceful, trying to rile people up, like throwing myself out into the crowd and like pushing people around, and like, and it not being a performative thing. Like, I'm doing it because like it feels real,
Yeah,
like this is fucking hectic music, and the lyrics, and like wake the fuck up, and yeah. So I would say yes, yeah, commanding. Yeah, and it's as I'm getting older, and maybe it's a bit harder to do that. At the very least, I would like to be able to just stand over people, and to people who know the music, know the lyrics, know the feeling of it all, it feeling like this is authentic. Like, it's not acting, but it's just like, I'm not going to name names, but I've seen bands who their music's quite brooding and whatever. And then on stage, I don't know what the fuck is going on with their thought process, but they're wearing like Hawaiian shirts, and I've
Yeah.
seen them maybe several times, and they're like joking around and they're sloshing beer and going, fucking cunts. And it's like this is not this has taken me out of it completely. Like,
It'd be like if Nurgle acted like that when Behemoth played. Like
yeah, and look, he
it
is a
doesn't
little bit
fit.
of a joke these days, but it doesn't destroy it. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel disharmonious with what you're trying to create.
Yeah, no, I love that. Do you and this is something this is just off the top of my head. Are you a different person on stage? Because I know I am. Um
Yeah.
like everyone calls me Killer. That's been my nickname for over 25 years now. Um and everybody always says to me like you get on stage and you turn into Killer. And then you come off stage and you're still the same person,
Yeah.
but it's this different personality while still
Sure.
being the same person.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say so. I've had people
yeah,
tell me that the entire time I've been in bands, being shocked, feeling, and I'm not saying this to sound like I'm gassing myself up, but just like feeling a bit like threatened because it's like a massive change. But
yeah,
that's not acting, and that's probably why maybe why they feel that way
yeah,
because, um, you know, I'm have a lot of latent anger, disdain, those kinds of emotions in me. I don't enjoy being that way with people. Um, in the past, I have been that way where it comes out. And I'm the kind of person when I was a lot younger, before I was in therapy and that sort of stuff, where I would have an explosive episode, and I wouldn't hurt anyone, but my emotions, I would like lash out and I'd run out of the house and I'd tip something over. And maybe you might relate with ADHD,
I
emotional
know exactly what you're
regulation.
talking about. So
Yeah. And feeling horrible about it.
yeah,
Immediately coming back, putting things back and being like, I'm really sorry. That was completely inappropriate. And, that didn't happen that many times in my life. Enough times that I was like, I've got something about the way my brain works. It goes to that and I have to do things about it. And that's probably why I've become a very introspective, thinking things through, taking my time sort of person. But on stage, that's sort of where that beast within is given space to roam and
yeah.
serve a purpose.
I know for me, the moment I put the corpse paint on, it starts to come out. Um, and it's like for me, that's a ritual before a show. Um, I have to, I want to be by myself, headphones on, listening to, whatever I need to listen to at the time. And just take my time putting my makeup on and getting ready.
Mm.
It's very much like a self-reflective time for me, but it also, the moment I'm finished, something happens. Um, it's not like I can't even put it into words. Like, the feeling is different,
Sure.
while still being myself. So, um, yeah, it's a funny thing. And I think it's something that a lot of like vocalists in particular experience. The moment they, either hit that first note or, like I said, that snare drum or the guitar hits for that first note,
Mm.
something changes inside of you and you become a bit of a different beast.
Mm. It's certainly with guitar is obviously very melodic, and there are some people who thrash their guitar, but it's, at least guitar and vocals are probably well, I'm saying it's the most emotional, but everyone would have a different point of view because it's their tool.
Yeah.
Drums, bass, you can fucking thump the bass and be fucking feeling the vibrations coming through. Same with drums. But I guess it's because you're putting words to things, and it's the voice too. That's probably
Yeah.
one of the most emotional things a human can use is their voice.
Big time. Big time. And it's instantly relatable because we're constantly like people talk, people it's in our yeah, in our lives constantly. It's how we receive almost all of our information. Um, yeah, so there's something so powerful in being a vocalist, and being able to, especially with like the lyrics that you guys have got, there's such power behind it all, and emotion
Oh,
and
thanks for that.
feeling, but there's also like that truth behind it. So, I know for me myself, I'm like using metaphors and things like that, and so it's often people are coming back after they've heard the album and listened to stuff and digested it, and then are coming back and going, "Hey, this meant something to me," or "We're
Mm.
writing about this because this is what I got out of it."
Mm.
But I really feel with you guys, that message just is what we're talking about. It's confrontational and it's in your face, but in a loving way. You're shouting it from the rooftops, telling people what they need to hear.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. While kind of, I mean, I want to say throwing confetti at the same time, but that's completely the wrong way to put it. But do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like kind of
I,
like that the whole band thing. It's like, look at me. I'm on stage, but while I'm here, I want to tell you something important.
mm. I will say something that came up in one of the other interviews I did recently is
Mm,
like I kind of I fucking hate the whole look at me thing. Like I I know I've got charisma, but I also don't like being because the persona that comes out is authentic, but I don't really like being the center of attention. I'm kind of the vessel for something.
yeah,
And I said in another interview, I was like, I would be happy to be in a band where each of the members are listed as A, B, C, D, E, whatever. You don't know. We wear things, and you don't know who we are because the message is really more important. Like I guess I'm even uncomfortable with hearing praise when people have come to
yeah.
me about things because it's just like I don't know. This is just something that's coming out of me, and that's a personal issue that I have.
It's probably
Um,
like a bit of a neurodivergent thing as well. I know I'm the same. And for me,
yeah,
it's RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria.
sure,
Um,
yes.
it doesn't matter if it's like you get the smallest little bit of criticism on something and it's a knife to the heart, even though it's like,
Mm,
it's nothing. Um,
yeah.
so I can relate to that.
Yeah, so I've had to, I guess, had to learn some kind of, I don't want to say learn, like a toxic humility. I don't know how to characterize it. You probably know what I'm getting at.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, but very much not a look at me kind of person. And, and I've even thought this in the past that the whole kind of lurking in the dark lighting, not really saying much to, take out of things is also a little bit of like a, I don't want to say a crutch. But it's kind of playing to strengths. Because I don't really, God, you look at some bands and it's like, I mean, like Limp Bizkit or fucking Falling in Reverse. And I mean, I'm not giving what's his name? Oh, my brain's gone for Limp Bizkit. But there are people who just they fucking love being the person.
Yeah.
They love it. Um, God, if I had any interest in doing research again, I really think it would be interesting to think about like the comorbidity between being a frontman or a front person of a band and I don't want to say narcissistic traits, but there's sort of a
Oh,
need to
it's
express things, but there's
yeah.
certainly the wanting to be seen by people, to be heard. And I'll actually say when I was really young, I did think about those things. I grew up listening to Linkin Park. I'm like, I want to do that. I want people to listen to the things that I sing and be like, wow, he's saying something amazing. And I grew out of that. But I think early on, at least when I was younger, I felt a bit that way. So when I
One
see
of my
people who are like that as adults, I'm like, what is going on with you?
yeah, yeah. One of my favorite things still is hearing the crowd sing back words to songs. So, um, yeah, but I completely get what you're saying with it as well. I'm not a look at me type of person.
Yep,
I don't like the attention. And that's very much like the autism in me sort of saying,
yep.
leave me
But you're
alone.
taking on a different personality as well. Even if it's authentic, you're becoming a separate thing.
Yeah,
We've described.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but people singing lyrics back, I do love that, and that's not a narcissistic thing at all. It's
No,
it's like it's just human connection,
yeah,
really,
yeah,
and thinking that these words have some kind of value to someone because that's going all the way back to the what you're saying about being in a band and being an artist. That's kind of what this is all about to me.
yeah.
Is that someone being inspired and taking something on and taking it further, taking it into their life, and that's not a thing where I'm like, oh, I've done that. It's just I'm just the vessel for this
Yeah.
train of thought.
I love that. I love that. And it's do you find that when you're writing stuff, it's unconscious then? It just kind of comes out?
Sometimes, I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes it's. I read quite a lot, and I know I've got words that just stuck in my brain. Sometimes I put down a word on when I'm writing, and I'm like, I don't even remember what the meaning is, but my brain knows what the meaning is, and I look it up. I'm like, oh, that actually works. But I tend to think that I come up with ideas of what I want to write about. I don't really write sort of in an like a not unconscious, but what they call automatic writing.
Yeah.
I am very I want to say I don't like the word calculated, but I'm just conscious of conveying the right things and having things that sound good but have accurate meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Um, well, looking back at the album, which is absolutely amazing, by the way, I'm loving it. It's doing really big numbers and stuff. It's just huge. For you, do you feel that it's more of a like a bit of a self-portrait, um, or do you feel it's like that expression more when you're writing?
Hmm.
It's a funny way to word that, and I say it like that because for me, I very much write like it's a self-portrait. I'm writing about
Yeah.
myself, but I'm not writing it in a way where it's me, me, me.
I will say it's a self-portrait in the sense that, as what I was saying before, I'm a qualified social worker, and this is the sort of thing I want to do with my life and work and a career. It's a self-portrait in that I'm taking this a lot more seriously,
Yeah,
and I'm putting the work into conveying things as truthfully, as accurately, um as convincingly as possible.
yeah,
So I would say that that is where it's more of an accurate self-portrait
yeah,
of stepping into things a bit more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as an artist, and with like you've got a really unique perspective on things. What does Munt still need to say?
The way I see it is the world will never stop being full of fucked up shit.
Yeah, there's
I
always
mean,
going to be something just to talk about.
one of the reasons why we had the band name, although it might be the extra justification was, I guess Bub was like, why is Munt not a band name? Because it's a tie between he's from Scotland, but in the UK, Scotland, they use Munt in the same way that we do. That's a little fun thing to throw up to be sick. But it's one of the things that kind of Spud said to me when I was thinking about joining was it's about all the things that make you sick in the world. Munt
Yeah,
to to throw up, and that's that's kind of it. There's always going to be things to talk about. I like, I don't know if we'll ever do a full on concept release, but I feel like every release is probably going to be themed in some way. It's just the way my brain works. I like to group things together and have them bounce off of one another. Um, but yeah, I think there's never going to be a shortage of things to write about,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. I'm working on a concept album at the moment, for the first time, and it's a crazy journey, um, tying everything in together and having all those. There's lots of loose strings in there when you're writing songs and stuff like that, and
Yeah, for
so
sure.
tying it all together and having
Takes
this
a lot of work.
unique piece, yeah, a lot of
Yeah, I
thought
mean,
and a lot of pre-planning as well.
yes. And I mean, look, I would say realistically, it is a concept album, but it's not a concept album in like the most like rock opera kind of way.
Yeah,
One in my other band, we're working on many things, and one of which is an album that is like the probably the tip top of where you would go if the aspiration with concept album. It might take a long time to get written. That's why we've thankfully got all this other shit we can work on in the meantime. Um, but yeah, so I understand that completely, and it takes a lot of work.
yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Be interesting to know what comes next. I think we're not like intentionally avoiding having conversations about it. We've just got a lot going on. Tours coming up, still sorting out things like merch and the post-release period.
all the fun things.
Yeah, and I think probably while we're on tour is when we might start talking about things. I think it was actually the second last band practice we had. Sol was mucking around and he started playing some ideas, and sometimes he write fiddles with things. I'm like, that's cool, and we never do anything with it. But we actually kind of lent into it for about like half an hour while we were setting up drums, and it was like, oh, actually, I'm going to record that. Um, and it's an interesting thing about us. We're very planned as a band, but we're also very spontaneous. I don't think that that's quite unique for many bands, but some bands are all spontaneity and some bands are all planning, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen both sides of that. You get bands when they write songs have got whiteboards in their
Yeah.
jam room that they're plotting things out and writing out themes for lyrics and all this sort
I
of stuff.
certainly, I certainly would appreciate a little, some more of that. I think everyone understands the value of things like that. Like I said before, we didn't really use things like Google Docs in the past, but having done it for this album, it makes such a big difference. And I don't know if I just said that we no others didn't, didn't know the value of it. I think we all did. I think it's just realizing the what a debut album like this does for a band going, well, we want to do this all right and we need to, we need to be more locked in with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are just killing it. So, yeah, like even I'm based in Adelaide and we're just hearing really amazing things about you guys here as well. So, yeah, it's awesome. Um,
Thank you.
mate, I always kind of round things up a little bit with just some quick fire questions. Now feel free to expand on them if you want. You don't have to, give you like the one word response. So if Munt was a color, what color would it be?
Hmm. I would
I'm
say,
actually really interested to hear the answer from you, just
yeah,
knowing with like the way you think.
I would probably lean towards a really dark red or a very dark purple.
I love that. I
Because
love that.
I would say red is for me is like very violent, but the purple has a coldness to it,
Yeah.
and it's a bit more
I always found
that.
purple emotional as well.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah. What would be one band or album that has blown your mind this year?
Shit, this year.
That's a hard one as
Um,
well.
Fuck yeah. There's not really been. I'm gonna pull up Bandcamp right now.
Even if
I
it's
have an
like a
answer,
local band or something like that that you've seen and
yeah,
you've just gone, wow.
I think if I were to give you an answer just off the top of my head, Nightmare just released an EP, which is really great.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say that one. I know other things have released, but it goes into the pile of my brain and it's hard to remember.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it is Barriers. Amazing
Oh,
band that
yeah.
are like Adelaide,
No,
Melbourne band.
yeah, they're a great band. I think we're still sorting out who will be on our tour.
Yeah,
Adelaide's one of those shows, and Barriers are at the top of my
they are
preference list.
lovely.
So
I can
I don't
have a
know if
chat to
they'll.
you after. I can have a chat to you afterwards and talk contacts for that if you like as well.
Oh,
So
sure. Well, I'll probably we'll check in where we're at, and if we still haven't locked anything in for whatever reason, we'll maybe bump that a bit. But yeah, no, they're a great band. They're a great
yeah,
band.
no, they're fantastic. They've got some new stuff coming out, and I cannot wait. I've heard a little bit of it, and I can't wait for other people to hear it. So it's
Uh, that's
awesome.
cool. Because their last, their was it an EP that they just did, or was it an
Yeah,
album?
yeah, EP.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very good.
Um, yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, yeah. The new stuff's got some amazing like shoegazy type sections, and it is just brutally heavy as well. So
Yeah.
um,
One of my weak spots of genres are sludge bands that have kind of like really bleak chords,
yeah,
dark minor chords, and there's some of their songs I'm like that's hitting exactly that
yeah,
niche for me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
very cool.
yeah. Have you got any guilty pleasures outside of metal?
I don't think there's anything I'm guilty about.
I hate using
Um,
those sort of words like guilty pleasures.
yeah, I
For me, my
I was
favorite
thinking,
artist of all time is Prince, and I'm
oh,
unashamed
Prince
about
is,
it.
yeah, Prince is a legend. Look, to be fair, there are probably people if you're at a dive bar metal gig and there probably are some people like, oh, that's why the fuck would you like that? But like
Yeah,
most people would be able to recognize an incredible, not just musician, but well, artist,
yeah,
genius. You know,
yeah,
for me, I would actually have maybe said Linkin Park because I feel like they've always hung on to a little bit of that like angsty poor white kid kind of
yeah,
2000s. My life is so hard,
yeah.
like
Angry,
everything's
angry white
ending
boy
kind of
music.
vibe. Yeah, maybe. Otherwise, yeah, that's probably the closest. I might have said like I really like electronic music and like I breakbeat and drum and bass aren't really guilty pleasure, but I do kind of like some of that really like terrible like Russian gabba sort
Yeah.
of stuff. But that's probably that or Linkin Park.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I hate using the word guilty pleasures because I think anything you're into, you should not be ashamed about it. You should be
Yeah,
into it and enjoy it. So,
yeah.
um, one thing people would never guess, about the way that you create music?
Hmm. I don't know. I feel like I'm. It's hard to say. You don't know how people really perceive you. I feel
No,
like I'm
exactly.
quite an open book.
I would
But
feel I'm
yeah,
like a straight up, just I just kind of pick up the guitar and write stuff and play around like most people would. So,
yeah.
I don't know, most musicians are kind of the same.
Oh, look, I probably say what I was talking before, just about the way that I see images and colors, and like I imagine I hear like a scene of a city where there's like a riot happening and there's like ambulances coming, and I want to write a riff that kind of captures the sound of that.
Yeah,
And I would tell someone that, they're like, "What the fuck does that sound like?" I'm like, "Well, here's a riff for you. Here's
yeah,
something. Here's some. So that's yeah, that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This song's played in the key of magenta.
Yep.
Mate, you guys are about to head on out on a massive tour. You're taking the Nembatolic lads with you. Amazing band. I got to spend a bit of time with Jake, their drummer, at Froth and Fury here in Adelaide just a few,
Yep.
was like a week and a bit ago. Um, those guys are amazing, and I love getting to see them live. What are you most looking forward to? Just spending time with them.
Those dudes are a bit younger than us, and they still tend to
Are
cut
they?
loose a bit.
Oh
So
yeah.
I guess it'll be interesting to see how any band hangouts go. I will be probably quite vigilant about not drinking, except for, well, we're doing weekends. So the Sunday after the show, then I'll drink
Hang,
because we're
hang,
going home for a week.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Hang out with Jake, their drummer. I believe he's sober at the moment. So
there we go. Yeah, that sounds good. We'll probably talk about video games and that sort of thing.
yeah.
Yes, and I think just with the shows are going to be great because they just, I mean, even more than us, they just compel people to just cut loose. And I
Oh
think that that'll be
yeah.
great.
They blow me every time I see them. Blow me away. They are chaos incarnate on stage
Yep.
and do not miss a beat.
And they got a really cool sound that I can't really characterize. To me, if I could tell you what it was, it's like early 2000s like road runner metal, but like dirty hardcore metalcore deathcore at the
Yeah.
same time.
You
Like,
yeah, and you're talking my era as well.
yeah,
My
yeah,
band is like a throwback early 2000s metalcore with some mellow
yeah,
death influence in there.
yeah,
I love that era of music, and so that Roadrunner stuff then was just that's right in my wheelhouse. I love that.
yeah. Very,
That's,
very cool sound. No one else is doing anything like it, and it,
yeah,
it just goes to show that they fucking love the music that they like because it
yeah,
comes across in the way that they write music.
yeah, hell yeah. And I've been singing all along the Frankston line for a while now. It's a song I cannot get out of my head of theirs. Yeah, I really love those guys, and it's always a fun time. So I know you guys are just gonna have the best time just watching what they do.
Yeah, yeah.
Mate, the tour kicks off Friday the 13th of March in Newcastle, playing at Hamilton Station. You are rolling through Sydney, Penrith, Melbourne, Frankston at Singbird Studio, which is always fun. Brisbane, Nambour, Gold Coast, and then finishing up on the 4th of April in Adelaide, which is where I will be. I will have my camera in hand, so I'll be shooting some photos and having a good time
Brilliant.
while I'm there as well.
Thank you.
Mate, what are you most looking forward to with the tour? Just getting out there and doing it, or
Yeah. Tour is always stressful for me because I take things quite seriously
yeah,
and worry about my performance being not good enough, but giving people the experience I would want to experience as a fan of my own band.
yeah,
But I think just getting time to connect a bit more with everyone again. Like I said, I was at uni for 4 years and we did spend a lot of time together, but coming out of that and being like, now I'm back into life, I think it'll be great to get out on the road. And yeah, hang out, stay in some Airbnbs and hopefully finish watching Predator because one of the last time when we were in Adelaide last time, we had to like piggyback off of someone's Disney and their Disney Plus and their Google Chrome thing, and we didn't finish Predator. And a couple of the guys for some reason hadn't seen it. So let's put that at the top of the most
yeah,
looking forward to
yeah. I love
is
that.
yeah, finishing Predator.
Well, mate, thank you so much for your time today. I think our chat went a lot longer than I was expecting, but it's been an amazing time and I've really enjoyed it. Definitely would love to maybe after the tour have another chat and just see how the
Yeah,
tour
of
was
course.
and that sort of stuff. Yeah,
I'm happy to have a yarn. It's
yeah,
all completely my thing.
yeah. And like I said, I'll be seeing you in Adelaide on the 4th. I'm really looking forward to it. Um, Mate, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd want to say just to the people before we finish up?
I would say make 2026 the year that you start buying physical media again.
Yes.
Or at the very least, try and spend a little bit extra money on Bandcamp. If not to support the artists, you want to keep the things that you love close to you,
Yeah.
because the way that streaming services and licenses are going these days, even with video games, like shit can disappear at a moment.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
grab it, buy a CD and take some time to actually read the lyrics.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you can't get the CD, grab a T-shirt.
Yep.
Grab a sticker, grab a patch, whatever the guys are selling. It helps out bands so much when they are on
Yep.
tour, by supporting them like that, and you get something cool out of it as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's something I always say. If you fuck with a band, grab a T-shirt, grab two. Um, you know, make sure you go up to the band afterwards and let
Yep.
them know how much you enjoyed their set. And
And I'd also
um,
say as my second advice is try to go to shows, because I mean I've already managed to miss a couple this year that I wanted to go to, but people in bands are getting older. Certain legacy like death metal bands is like how much longer can they keep doing it?
yeah,
Aborted were just here. I didn't get to see them, and
yes,
it's like they may not come back again. Who knows?
yeah,
So also when you see that show, maybe try and budget a little bit more for it and go along, because you might have a life-changing experience.
yeah, yeah. And you'll meet some cool people. You'll have a good time, and you'll definitely want to go back and see more local bands play as well. Um,
Yep.
it's the one thing I always say to people: go see your local bands. You'll get to see world-class bands for a local price in a small pub where you are
Yep.
face to face with the band, and it doesn't get better than that. Yeah.
Totally.
Tim, thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate your time today. I cannot
No
wait
worries,
to catch
Chris.
up with you face to face in Adelaide, which is not too far away.
No
Um,
worries.
really, really looking forward to it. Yeah, mate, thank you
See
so
you
much.
soon.
This has been
That's all right.
fantastic.
Yep, it's
Rock
been
and
great.
roll.
Probably one of my favorite podcast interviews so far. Great
Hey,
guest.
there you go, mate. I appreciate it. And we'll speak to you again soon.
No worries. All right.
Rock and
See you,
roll.
mate.
Lost for